Hola!
Hello!
Happy Tuesday, everyone! How we doing? I see eight folks. That might be, I mean, we sometimes get a smaller audience on Tuesday.
That's pretty...
Especially as we get towards the spooky season. People got places to be.
Yeah.
Hunter's in, though. Welcome, Hunter. Hope you are having a great evening as well.
Say it's a pretty good evening.
It is a pretty good evening.
Yeah, we get to talk about one of our favorite things tonight.
It is like our literal favorite topic.
Yeah.
Welcome, you guys. We are so appreciative of everyone who tuned in. I know a couple of people are tuning in for a very specific reason, which we will get to. Dewey! Hey, what's up, man? Long time no see. So we are barreling down on the spooky season, as you may or may not be able to tell by our attire. Our last live stream, we spent a little less than an hour, I think, just talking about our spooky giveaway.
Right.
Whole bunch of stuff sitting right over there. I'm not going to pull it all out again. It's too fragile and delicately placed, but we have a big prize package, and we've given 2 weeks now, I think, for everyone to get their entries in. If you're unfamiliar with the spooky giveaway, I'm terribly sorry. It is too late at this time to enter. We will be drawing our winning entry momentarily, but we do want to thank everyone for participating. And if y'all really like the spooky giveaway and you want us to do it again next year, let us know. We would love to get that kind of feedback so that we know what we can do for you guys.
Yeah.
So typically around this time of our live streams, we would lead in with a little bit of theme park news because we are both haunters and theme parkers, as well as travelers and a bunch of other things. Convention attendees.
We're all enthusiasts.
We are enthusiasts of many things. But heading into the spooky season, our brains are all about haunts. So the last year, I think we tried to do a couple different haunt live streams. This year, we've learned our lesson. We're not going to do live streams during haunt season. As we get into September and October, we are going to be on a brief hiatus so that we can focus on getting some edits out, which means this is our last chance to talk about everything we want to do during spooky season before we are officially cutting ourselves off for a little bit. So instead of doing our usual format where we do theme park news and then we lament all the changes that are going on in our sad world, we will jump right into the content for the evening, starting with our spooky season giveaway winner. Before we get to that, just really quick, we do want to plug ourselves. The Real Tim and Katie on Instagram and Threads, Tim and Katie on Facebook, and our perpetually behind timandkatie.net website. No. Oh yes, it's very behind. It's behind again.
Behind. It gets so bad during spooky season.
It's so easy to fall behind on blog posts because it's like the lowest tier of priorities. Actually, if anyone wants to write blogs for us, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We have to do it, but it's a pain in the butt.
Maybe I should do some of that this weekend.
We have some time.
Yeah,
we have a little bit of time.
All right, enough about us.
So.
But do follow us. Thank you very much.
But do follow us. We very much appreciate it. I do want to say hello to Halloween Haunts 365, who I think pushed a live show of their own just to be on this one.
Oh, goodness.
Because that's how important haunts are to them, as the name might imply.
I know y'all were interested in the goodies, so
yes.
Best of luck to you.
Yes. So we do have a giveaway winner to pull, and I can't even tell if the music's going. Someone tell me if there's background music. There is background music. I can hear it. I've got like my...
Oh, I probably can't hear it.
Because you've got yours turned all the way down.
Yeah, because I've got it on.
I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Okay, so the last time we did this, when we pulled a giveaway winner, we did a Holloway giveaway last year. And when we pulled our giveaway winner, we went out of our way to do it ahead of time and record it so that there would be no interruptions to the actual thing. I didn't have time to do that this time. So we are going to be doing it live. Best of luck to everybody. But also, I apologize if anything goes wrong. I tested this earlier today and it seemed to work fine. But if it doesn't work fine for some reason this time, it's not my fault. I did everything I could. All right. Yes, I need to break this a little bit.
Hold on, we're just bringing up our
wheel of names.
Wheel of entries.
Window.
Man, I couldn't navigate this if I tried. Okay.
Okay.
That looks right.
That looks right.
That looks right.
Everyone can see that, right? We're good.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we're good. Okay. All right, you guys. Best of luck to everyone. We don't know who the winner is this time because we didn't do it offline, so we'll see what happens. We ready? Spin!
Oh!
They did it! Congratulations!
Man, I know you guys had to be manifesting that because every single item we pulled up last live, Jared was like, I want it.
I know. So congratulations.
Hey, no one better deserves. You guys
absolutely
I know team. You guys are going to crush haunt season, and we're happy to give you some more gear to do that.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks to everyone who participated. Again, if this was something fun or something you'd like to see more of, maybe we'll bring it back.
I am super excited by how many entries we got, to be honest, because the holiday season brings out a different type of person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there is a person that enters giveaways, and then there's a person that loves the holidays, and then there's a person that loves haunts, and there's not a whole lot of overlap between the three. But there is the occasional person who will jump in just because they like Tim and Katie. They're a rare breed, and we do appreciate them, but they are a rare breed. So, like, when we did this giveaway and we started assembling all this stuff, we were like, I hope people will actually be interested.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, thank you to all of the haunts who pitched in, all of the small shops who donated stuff for us to give away. Not all of it was donated. Some of it we brought ourselves.
Yep.
And one shop in particular, I know we did buy a Scaredy Bear from Sapphire because we were absolutely dedicated to supporting her business model. Yeah. But we do appreciate everyone entering, everyone playing along, and we hope that the prize pack will be worth it. Hate Christmas. You know, Christmas has its place, but I do prefer Halloween. Yeah. That is my reason for the season. So, you guys are obviously in the chat, so you do not have to go out of your way to contact us. We know you've won, but you have 5 days to get us the information if you want us to go ahead and package this up. If not, we know you. We'll probably cross paths with you during the haunt season.
Because we can't keep this stuff forever. It's taking up space.
It's taking up space. But we do appreciate y'all, and congratulations on your victory. Okay. I think I can turn the music back up now.
Yeah, let's turn party music back up.
Party music. It's spooky music. I said spooky for the reason for the season.
I can't hear it, so it don't matter.
Well, yeah. All right, you guys. So Katie named this slideshow, by the way. She was very dead set.
I know.
I was like,
he was like haunt plans, and I was like, how about haunt season forecast? Because here's what happens every haunt season.
Every haunt season. That has already happened this haunt season.
We come up with the best plans, and then stuff happens. So it's a forecast. We're not making promises here.
Yes.
But we will try to hit all the things that we're going to talk about
So tonight. We typically, some of y'all are going to think we're nuts. Others of y'all are just as nuts as we are, and you're going to think we're perfectly sane. Yeah. So we start planning our spooky season in March of each year.
Sometimes earlier.
Sometimes earlier, but a lot of times, usually the latest we get things underway is March. And the reason is because a lot of the places that we want to see or that want to see us in rare cases will only operate for 1 month of the year. So we have to figure out, like, if it's only going to be October. A lot of places we're going this season actually do open in September, which is great. Mm-hmm. But usually October is the crazy month where we're zipping and zapping all over the country And I do mean this year.
Oh, I guess we are going across.
This year, I do mean country.
You do mean the country.
So we are, and we'll get to it. We'll get to our plan. But that's why when we get to actual like July, August, like even as recently as a couple weeks ago, some folks who are watching now will know exactly what I'm talking about. We had a major change to our plan, which we're not putting hard dates down on anything we're broadcasting tonight, simply because those dates are likely to change. Everything's going to get shuffled around. But some of y'all know where we're going. Some of y'all are haunters that we're excited to see. So if you know we're coming, it's because we've told you we're coming, and we're hoping not to change those plans. But forecast works better because you never
Sometimes
know.
it rains.
Oh yeah,
or
that's
it
true.
pours,
Sometimes.
well, I was thinking metaphorical rain,
but also
literal rain has closed some haunts. Some haunts are any weather. Some we get some bad rains or something.
A lot of haunts are outdoors, and in October the weather is highly unpredictable, especially in the Northeast. So like if it pours, usually most haunts will stay open during rain, but if it pours and it's an outdoor trail, it's
can
not
be a safety issue.
Yeah, it's not
for
great
actors and
for treading and
for
running
patrons.
and screaming and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, all of that out of the way, haunt forecast. This is our tentative plan for the 2024 haunt season, and we are super excited. I think when all was said and done, it was not quite as busy as last season, but it feels busier.
Yeah.
Because we are doing less, but somehow more. It's difficult to explain, so I'm just going to dive right into it. First of all, I'm going to throw this surprise out to everyone because people are always stunned silent when they find out this news. I don't know why, because it should, within the haunt community, it seems like it should be like
a given,
but I don't know. We are not going to Halloween Horror Nights Orlando this year. We didn't go last year either. We just can't swing it every year. We did do one Florida trip this summer, which we're releasing vlogs for now. That was very impromptu. We weren't planning to go to Florida at all this year, but a couple other plans fell through. And like we say, it's forecast for a reason. We push things around and we make stuff happen so that, we're not sitting at home. But this year, there is absolutely no times for Halloween Horror Nights Orlando. Heavy emphasis on the final word of that sentence. Sapphire!
Hello!
We were just bragging on your scaredy bear. So, actually, perfect lead-in.
Yeah.
So, it should be a surprise to no one that we are returning to Field of Screams. We have a really good relationship with the team there, and we are very thankful.
They are the seed that planted our haunt vlogging adventures.
I don't know what they saw in us. I still don't know what they see in us, but we are so appreciative of Jim and Dean and Tanner and all of the cast and crew there at Field of Screams. They invite us out every year, and we're always so excited to go. We will be going slightly less this year than we did last year. We will be going for opening weekend, and we will be going to Blackout Night.
Yeah.
Tentative. But it's on the calendar, so I'm calling it a firm deal. We do also have some guests coming with us to Media Night this year. So for the very first time, we were, well, I guess not. Technically, I guess we are permitted to bring guests. But
to Media Night, you're always, I think, given like 2 more tickets for a guest. And
so
we've never
taken advantage of it because we were always, I think, on some level, I feel like I don't want to take advantage of good graces.
Well, I think I also was like, I don't know anyone who would
love the haunt the way we do.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess in a way, it's kind of like don't spoil it for us. But
yeah, well, here's the thing. We have friends who have been to theme park haunts several times.
Yeah.
Some of them even overseas. Very exciting content to capture what they could capture of it. Yeah. But have never been to an actual, well, actually, I think, I shouldn't say never, because I think there was one instance a long time ago, but do not regularly attend small independently owned haunts. And those can be some of the best haunts in the industry.
Yeah.
Like the family owned places that spring up from nothing and become permanent fixtures, like Field of Screams, are some of the best haunts in the game, and they offer a very different experience from Halloween Horror Nights or Hallow Scream or any of the other theme park haunts in our area.
Or whatever.
Fright Fest and haunts, just Halloween haunts, I guess, is secret fairs. So, long story short, we will be bringing our friends Chad and Vanessa from 2 Tickets to Adventure to experience Field of Screams for the first time, which will give our video a little bit of a unique perspective too, because we'll get to watch their first time reactions.
Anyone from Field who's watching this, because we want to stay friends with them. You can terrorize us. We know you.
You can terrorize the heck out of us. We are always excited to be terrorized. But yes, we will be back for Field of Screams twice this year. Technically, Blackout is considered an off-season event because it does happen in November. Field of Screams is also opening late this year because typically they open the weekend after Labor Day, and they're not doing that this year because, like many haunts in the industry, they are pushing their opening back to fall on Friday the 13th. Which, talking to Katie, like, we're both like, Halloween starts like a full week later this year because no one is open. But the thing of it is, haunts got to think about more than just the hardcore haunters. They got to think about like the average teenager who's sitting at home doing nothing on a Friday night, and coinciding with Friday the 13th is the best possible chance to get them out of the house and do your event. So it makes sense.
Yeah. We just can't be everywhere at once.
We can't be everywhere at once. So we actually have a very busy weekend on that first weekend of Halloween. In addition to going to Field of Screams on, I think the Saturday night is the median night, the 14th. So we're bookending Field of Screams with our only visits to Hershey Park Dark Nights. We bought passes for a reason, and Dark Nights is one of the key reasons. We never go this early to Hershey Park Dark Nights. But our season is actually so busy because of other things.
We didn't think we'd make it
if we weren't going
maybe
both.
Like at the very end, and we do want to vlog it. It's Hershey does for right now, as far as we know, still let anyone film inside the houses. So
as long as you do not have a light, you cannot shine a light in the actors' faces.
It ends up being good for vlogging. Our content does pretty well. We are super bummed though that they didn't bring back the RIP dining.
I hate to throw Hershey under the bus, but that was a real bad call.
That was
we did actually carve out a whole day for just the RIP dinner experience and a snack crawl. And we're still doing the snack crawl because there was a lot of all new snacks that are seasonal and themed that were introduced for the Dark Knight season this year. And we're super excited about that. I am also excited to see there's a new house because they got rid of the Creatures Uncaged. Don't know if you guys saw the news today, but Hershey Park has announced they're bringing the world's tallest, fastest screaming swing to the park in the spot where the Creatures Uncaged house or trail used to be. So the trade-off is that they are introducing a new house that is entirely its own story. They've got a pretty good narrative going from the past 2 seasons. And 2023 was a 10-fold increase in quality from 2022. So if 2024 continues the trend, I think the houses and scare zones this year are going to be top-notch. Having said that, I do miss the RIV. We will be going for 2 days to Hershey Park Dark Nights. We will be going on the Friday night, which is opening night, which will be absolutely crazy.
Insane.
And that's why we're only doing snacks that night. We will not be setting foot in a house. We may do some scare zones and we might check out some merch, but we will not be trying to do houses that night because I think it's just going to be too nuts. We will be doing houses and a more detailed comb through of the scare zones on Sunday. And that will be, I think, our whole weekend plus Field of Screams.
Yep.
And then I'll have multiple vlogs to edit over the course of a week. So that'll be super fun for me.
Yep.
But it's not the destination, it's the journey. All right. So it should surprise no one that we're also going back to Laurel's House of Horror, which this year is celebrating their 10th season. You guys,
and they keep putting the X up.
If you have not seen our vlog from their Halfway to Halloween event in 2024, you have to check it out. It is a whole new world.
Because that was just a taste of what they were working on. That was just a taste.
And they have put so much hard work into putting on their 10th season because 10 is a big year. Laurel's is still an objectively pretty young haunt. Looking at like Field of Screams, Valley of Fear, Bates Motel, Fright Farm, like all of these different houses and properties that we've been to over the last couple of years, Laurel's may actually be the youngest that we've visited so
Lincoln
far.
Mill.
That's true. Younger. Lincoln Mill is actually younger. Yes, that is true.
Lincoln Mill's like...
I was thinking in my mind, like, where have we visited? Yeah. But yes, absolutely. I think Lincoln Mill is younger than Laurel's. However, Laurel's is starting to get some seniority. They're hitting year 10 this year, and their halfway event was out of this world. Now, they poured a whole lot of work into getting it ready for the East Coast Haunters Tour, where they were a stop. And as a result of that, they already had a seismic shift in sets and the different things that they set up over the course of it's one maze at Laurel's House of Horror, but it's a really well done maze. Yeah. And their escape games are, I believe, new this year as well.
They have at least one new room that we definitely want to check out.
Yes. So
very excited. They're technically opening the week after Friday the 13th, but they are doing like a special. They're doing like a one night Friday the 13th event, but they're not open. But I'm saying like they're not. They're doing like a one night event on the Friday the 13th, and then they're open Friday, Saturday, Sunday there and out for the rest of the season.
Right. So Friday the 13th is Slasher Night, which I am dubbing a soft opening. And I do know a couple of our Haunter buddies are going out there to scope that one out. And so I'm excited to see what that event experience is like. Obviously, we will be tied up at multiple different places that weekend. So we won't be able to make it out for the soft, but we will be going for their first full weekend to celebrate with them as they kick off their 10th year. And we do have some secret plans about how to make that weekend special for them too. Oh. So I won't say any more than that because someone's going to steal my idea. We are super excited. And if you guys have not checked out Laurel's House of Horror yet, you have to. You absolutely have to. It's a great alternative to a rainy night if you've got other plans. Often they will offer discounts if you have a haunt that you've already booked and it's canceled because of outdoor weather. And they're all indoors. So most of the time it doesn't affect them. We also will be going back to Fright Farm, which we didn't plan to do.
We didn't plan to do, but ran into our buddies from Fright Farm, I guess, at East Coast Haunters Convention, and they're like, "You guys want to come back out?" We're like, "Well, I guess if you pull my arm, I will."
They allured us with the forbidden fruit. We know a tiny little bit about what they're trying to do this year. And this, at Fright Farm, the theme changes every year. It's a permanent fixture and the structures remain the same, but the interiors of those structures change around a massive theme each year, which is not uncommon for a haunt, but at Fright Farm, it's all a linear experience. You've got a hayride, you've got a haunted house, you've got an exterior trail, and then you've got an interior trail. And then you've also got like the midway with a ton of games, escape games, fitness games with the hanging bar. Yeah. You've got scare actors roaming around. It is an incredible experience. And we were absolutely blown away last year. So we couldn't say no when they invited us out again. We absolutely could not say no. They told us a little bit about what they were doing and we were like, we have to see.
There's been some big changes.
Changes.
I won't say anything, but there's definitely going to be a different kind of walkthrough than it was last year. So we're excited to go back out there.
And I believe the plan is still to get us out there during the day as well so that we can kind of take a look at the differences. So we should be able to give you kind of a peek behind the curtain at that time, but that will be a couple weeks after their official opening. Right. So we won't be giving away too much that hasn't already been given away. This is a new one.
This is new.
And this, I will put a heavy asterisk on this because this is tentative, but it is looking good. And I do want to pre-thank, but not pre-obligate here. So we have potentially booked 100 Acres Manor, which is in or near Pittsburgh, not that far from Fright Farm. It was actually Fright Farm that was able to connect us with this crew here, and it's looking really good, like we might be able to make it out there. I know next to nothing about this haunt. But then again, I knew next to nothing about Fright Farm too when we heard about them. So like, this is an area that we don't know much about.
There's so many haunts in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania is haunt central.
I guess there's just like farmland out there that people just decide to put a haunt on, which is great.
Well, 100 Acres Manor, here's what I do know about 100 Acres Manor. 100 Acres Manor is literally 100 acres. It is a developed land. It looked from the website, and mind you, that's all I have to go on because I do not watch walkthroughs before we go and look at places. We like to be surprised. We like to be scared. So from the website and the exterior, it looks like the spooky castle from Scooby-Doo, like the live action Scooby-Doo movie. And that was like enough to hook me on its own, because I was like, that kind of production value from the outside, I can't even imagine what the inside is. Also, Fright Farm speaks very highly of them. And if Fright Farm speaks highly of another haunt, you know it's going to be a big haunt, because Fright Farm is astronomical in the field. They just do such a great job with production value. So, tentatively, 100 Acres Manor, this will be our very first time at that haunt. It will be a very long weekend because we are very far from home when we are in Pittsburgh. But we plan to make it happen. We'll see what the vlogs look like. We'll see what the calendar looks like as we get there. This is the plan right now, and we're super excited about it. This is a hard confirmation. Yes. This is a much firmer thing. So we will also be going to Red Vein for the very first time. So we had never heard of Red Vein until last season.
Yes.
It surprises a lot of people how little we know about haunts. So we went out to haunt at King's Dominion with our friends Chad and Vanessa, who are coming with us to Field of Screams. And we ran into some employees who were running booths who were super excited to see us out with cameras, which isn't uncommon. And in talking with those employees, they're saying, this is good, but you gotta see Red Vein. You gotta check out Red Vein, because that is like the haunt in this area. And so we started doing some homework, and very similar to Fright Farm, Red Vein takes on a new theme every year. So I have nothing to compare previous years to, or whatever this year is going to be. I have no idea how it compares to the past years, but I know that from the Instagram that I have been following very closely, they have poured their heart and soul into this year's preparations. I believe the theme this year is the Void, which actually is kind of a running theme in the haunt industry as a whole. It seems like the otherworld kind of like... Is
that promo photo from this year, or did you get it from a different year?
No. So this is an all-year... So the logo is superimposed on top of an image, and they think the image is from another year. But the idea is that like there is a running theme that goes through all years, but then there's an isolated theme that overtakes certain areas. I like their
logo with like vein.
I know.
It's cool.
I dig it. I think Red Vein's an awesome name for a haunt.
Yeah.
So
it's very close to red vines, which makes me think of that candy that is not good.
So you may have noticed like Halloween Horror Nights and a couple other places are doing like this otherworld Meow Wolf style, like, I don't know what to call it, psychedelic. Like the theme this year is kind of like Into the Void. And that is literally what Red Vein's named theme is just the Void, which I'm super excited about, because if you haven't seen our other vlogs from outside of haunt season, we love Otherworld, we love Meow Wolf, we love those trippy, weird places that are awkward and bizarre to navigate. We even love those little like mystery spot, like hole in the wall places where like furniture's upside down. Like that's our jam. So this, I imagine, is going to be a bit more terrifying, and we would expect that wholly from a haunt that's established like Red Vein. But I'm super, super excited to see how they play with that theme. We have been in contact with the Red Vein staff. We have been officially invited out to tour the facility and to also stay and enjoy the experience as night guests. So we will throw out some thanks in advance to the team for inviting us and hosting us, and we look forward to showing off what that experience is like.
Hopefully you'll learn along with us about Red Vein. We're excited.
Yeah, see, I'm not the only one. Okay.
I feel like there's just so many haunts.
There's a lot of haunts.
And it does, just because we haven't, by all means, just because we haven't heard of them doesn't mean they're not famous.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
And to be clear, I heard a lot about Red Vein last season because we were in Ashland where Red Vein is located, but I had never heard of them prior to this. Now that I've heard about them the first time, I feel like I keep hearing about them.
Yeah. It's like when you buy a car and then all you see is the car.
Or like when you have a conversation and Facebook listens to you and starts serving you ads.
That's true.
So tentatively the same weekend, but not necessarily. Depends on how things play out. We are also going out to a smaller haunt, a younger haunt that's out in Luray, which is not close. It's going to be a very long weekend and a very late night. Yep. But we have also been invited to check out Darkwood Manor, which is a haunt that is still, I think, in its formative years. I don't know how old they are off the top of my head, but I know they are a young haunt, like Laurel's. And they were excited to have us check them out. They messaged us on Instagram to see if we would be interested in coming out and doing a sort of similar thing where we poke around during the day to see what things are like and the hard work that pours in. We have been following them on Instagram for a little bit now, and I can tell you that they're very passionate about what they do, as are all haunters.
Yes.
But they're going a long way to showcase like the hard work that goes into building this haunt. All the 2x4s being passed back and forth, all the actors coming in and doing their interviews.
Which is what we like to do, because we're not a review crew.
We're not
going to give anyone a score, because really we just want to show off what they're doing. So
our
we
primary
love to see the efforts that are put in, because you don't necessarily get to see that when you're just going through the haunt. Hopefully it's still a great experience, but you don't get to see like,
it's like an RIP
molded this
or,
ourselves.
Is it an RIP to our Halloween Horror Night? I should know this.
It's RIP.
If it's an RIP
it's
or
on tour.
behind the mask or unmasking the horror.
That's it.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Think of it like that. Like you're going to see a little bit of what makes the haunt tick, and then when night falls, you actually get to see the haunt in full swing. And the transformation is one of the coolest things I think we never get sick of seeing it. Like any haunt, every haunt has that transformation between day and night, and the experience.
And so many times I'm like, oh, I know where this is. It's not going to scare me, and I'm wrong. It still gets me. Like it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I've known where it is. It doesn't matter. We went to Knoebels recently, and that stinking truck in the Haunted Mansion still gets me every time. So it's not really
exactly where that is.
Like spoilers or anything.
So I do want to say that I didn't tell you about this, but I did get a message from. I will leave them nameless for the time being.
Okay.
But they are a friend. They were just trolling.
Oh, okay.
Someone reached out and said, I don't know why y'all are always screaming when you go through haunted houses, because to me, it just doesn't seem scary. And the answer to that question is because we allow ourselves to be swept up.
Yes.
Like we are in the moment, and only that moment matters. That is the fun of a haunted house to us. So like seeing the transformation is our first step into that world. And when we're in that world, we are breathless, our hearts are pounding, we are living our best lives. Oh, hey!
New to Instagram. See, that's also hard to tell.
Okay.
Because
thank you for correcting us, because that is important.
Social media does make it seem like some people have been around some places have been around for forever. So thank you. I know we would have gotten the date.
I am glad that you guys did join Instagram though, because that keeps things alive off season. For me, looking at how haunts are developing in July makes me so excited to get to September. But yes,
yay!
Thank you for correcting us, because I would not have known that. But we definitely appreciate you guys having us out.
Although,
we're super excited.
Gosh, 23 means after the year. That's still.
That means that haunt is old enough to drink.
Enough to drink, but wasn't born before. I just saw this meme that was people are having babies that weren't, and those people, the parents weren't born before the first Shrek movie came out, and I was like, that would be messed up with that messed me up. Anyway, well, thank you. We're excited to see you, and thanks for reaching out and inviting us to come check it out. We're so excited.
I am always just kind of floored when a haunt wants to have us, because we want to be there. There is nothing in life that is more special or significant to us than showing up at a new to us haunt and running through that experience for the first time. And after that first time, it just gets harder and harder not to go back to any given haunt, because
that's the only problem.
We'll be on our way home and we'll start talking did you see that thing, that skeleton cat in the corner? I'm like, what? No, what? Yeah. It was moving. How did you miss it? Yeah. Oh my God, I gotta go through again. And then the next year you go back and the whole thing is different, and it excites you. So.
Oh man, thank you so much. Thank you for clarifying. We are humbly always wrong about stuff.
It is going to be a fun season. There will be some other stop-ins that we're still figuring out, and I'll list off some of our ideas as we get towards the end. But I will say that we have one more kind of big thing to announce before we get back to the tail end of our season. And once we get through this big thing, I think at that point we're done with vlogs, because we won't be able. It's important to us that when we produce vlogs, that it's relevant to the people that have invited us out, that it actually gets them some foot traffic and helps them grow the haunt audience and get more people through the doors, which is also why we don't do full walkthroughs, because we want to preserve some of that experience for the ticket holders. Having said that, we do love going to haunts and Halloween and spooky things, and we know we only have so much time left at the end of the season, and we want to get to as many places as possible. So towards the end of the season, we will be going to some other haunts that we will not be vlogging. We will be there just to be there and to experience things. And if you see us and you know us and you want to say hi to us, please do. Just because we don't have cameras doesn't mean we don't want to say hi. But we will be going to a couple more places, which I will circle back to. Before that, I don't know if she's still in the chat, but I was going to call out our travel buddy, because we are going on a kind of large trip this year for a spooky season, and it is going to impact and has impacted our ability to get to other haunts. So just know it's a great trip. So did she just post? No, she didn't. Oh, hold on, before we transition, Saf.
Yeah.
Mark-offs is a must-do. It is a must-do. And conversely, we've been told that Reaper's Revenge is also a must-do for us, which we've never been
Maybe
to.
Next year.
There is so much. There's so much we got to do. And we keep, it's tough because we want to go back to the same places over and over again, but we also want to go to new places. That's the problem, is
we keep like adding to our wish list.
We only have like, a lot of places are only open for October, so we only have like 6 weekends tops to get to a lot of different places, and some of them like if Field of Screams, I know exactly what Field of Screams is doing differently this year, and I'm super excited and I cannot miss it. But like, take Field of Screams as an example, and say we chose for some ungodly reason to skip Field of Screams this year. Then somebody from Field of Screams would come up to me and say, you got to check it out. We added this, that, and the other thing. And I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll do Friday. Like, we have to try and like squeeze everything in, and we have to try and go new places, but we also can't turn our backs on the places that we already know and love. Yeah. I'm with Halloween haunts. You got to get on that. Mark-offs is incredible.
Your whole family will love it.
All right, I will circle back to Mark-offs because we have something to say about Mark-offs too. But before we do our kind of cool bucket list at the end here, we do want to talk about, we're doing a soft trip announcement.
Switching gears, because it is definitely a tone and a vibe switch.
It is a tone and a vibe switch.
Yeah.
Sort of. Let's just
get to it. We're just burying the lead here.
So we and our typical travel companion, Kaylee from Phantasmic Travel, who is in the chat and has her own channel and is putting out some great content. Y'all should check it out. We will be making our first return to California since 2022. And we will be attending and visiting the 3 iconic theme parks in the central Los Angeles and Anaheim area. Not Spooky Farm will be a day visit. And I do want to emphasize, I know the backlash I'm going to get on this, but I do want to emphasize we are not going to Not Scary Farm. We are going to Not Spooky Farm. So this is the daytime experience. And let me just tell you why. We wanted to do both. I know. I was that like, went from like. I heard it in my head. I heard it in my head before it was actually posted. I know. Listen, I know. Here's the reason. We don't have a car. That is the foundational reason why we are not going to Not Scary Farm. And you're asking, why does that matter? Here's why it matters. Knott's, despite being within the Cedar Fair or Cedar Flags or Six Flags or whatever else we're calling the brand now after the merger, despite being in a family of theme parks that has a typical formula and pattern for their rules and their chaperone policies and whatever else, Knott's operates differently. It is still at least partially family owned. And
which is, for the most part, a great thing.
Yeah, I love Knott's. I find Knott's to be an awesome park. And we are super excited to go back to Knott's for the daytime experience for that reason, because the last time we went to Knott's, I was on the outside edge of getting very, very, very sick and not being able to enjoy it. So we have a lot of coaster credits to claim, plus the spooky decor and like the campy feel. Like, I'm all about that. It doesn't need to be outright gory and terrifying.
I'm still like a pumpkin and ghosties and like family friendly Halloween loving too.
But here's the key thing. Knott's will actually kick you. They have a hard line between the daytime experience and the nighttime experience. The daytime experience is for families. The nighttime experience is for adults. And they will kick you out of the park at 5 p.m. sharp and make you wait outside the gates for 2 hours to get back inside the park, and then run you until you're ragged until 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, Knott's is coming at the end of our trip. We'll get to the other stuff momentarily. This is a long trip, and it's not exclusively for spooky stuff, but Knott's will be one of the last things that we do. We will not have a car. It will be a very late night if we stay for Scary Farm, which we were planning to do. But the rub is that when we get kicked out of the park, we will have bags and cameras from the daytime experience that we are allowed to have that we will not be allowed back into the park with for Knott's Scary Farm. Because there are very specific rules about bags, cameras, lighting for the Scary Farm experience that do not apply to the daytime experience. Now, I understand all of that, and I understand too that like they do have to balance what's best for the demographics that they're juggling. Most people do not come to both things. They are targeting families with the daytime experience. They are targeting hardcore haunters and scary enthusiasts with the nighttime offerings.
Hardcore haunters, I think, with quotation marks.
Listen, you saw the reaction when I said.
I know. I'm just saying, like, anyway.
I think it makes sense for them business-wise. However, it makes it incredibly inconvenient and difficult for us to get in there. I did say, when we started talking about it, I did say if we're going to do it, we wouldn't vlog it. Like, we need to choose between the daytime or the nighttime experience. And the consensus among our group was like, we really love Knott's, and if we only get to do one thing, the daytime experience is longer, you still get to see the spooky stuff, and you get to claim all the coaster credits and whatnot. So it was a tough call. Yeah. And I do want to do Knott's Scary Farm someday, even if we don't vlog it, because it's too complicated to get the cameras in, which I totally understand, and that will not bar me from doing an experience. But this time around, we just wanted to get to Knott's and enjoy Knott's.
Yeah.
So this is the softest of the 3 announcements as a part of this trip that relate to spooky things. So I apologize for the non-Scary Farm, but there will still be spooky fun content from Knott's. And I'm excited about it, even though it will be a little bit of a tonal shift. A little bit more exciting for the spooky enthusiasts. This will be our first time going
to the marriage of Disney and spooky.
I will quote my favorite quote
from PJ.
From PJ. Just across the entire haunt industry, this is my favorite quote. I've never known a haunter that wasn't also a Disney person. Now, I probably actually have, but it's a great quote. And I love it because there's so much overlap between Disney enthusiasts and haunters. We all love the immersion. We all love the set design. We all love feeling like we're stepping into another world. The only difference between Disney and haunts is that the worlds are a little bit more graphic on the haunt side. Bless you.
Excuse me. I was really hoping that one would actually die like all the other ones do, but no, it didn't die.
So Oogie Boogie Bash is Disneyland. It's a more adult version of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. It is focused more on character interaction and spooky things, and it's got a Nightmare Before Christmas vibe, as you might have picked up from the name.
Yeah, and
but there's more
heavy emphasis on villains and stuff.
I think it's kind of like a beta test for the Villains Land that they just announced. To be honest, I've always kind of seen it that way.
I wouldn't say it's not family friendly, but it is nighttime and
it is family adjacent.
Yeah,
it is accessible, but I think there are elements of Oogie Boogie that are a little scarier for young kids because it is a villain's takeover event.
Yeah,
and cheesy as it is to some people who I'm sure don't love Disney as much as we do, and don't get me wrong, I have my gripes with Disney, especially after D23 and the other shoe dropping a couple weeks ago. We would be here all night if I talked about that. But what I've always thought Disney does really well is immersion and world building. And Oogie Boogie Bash is the Halloween Disney event in the country. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is a very child-friendly event. And this is more, I think, a full family with perhaps an older skew. So we are excited.
I've never been before, so I guess we'll find out.
But I've seen 100 million vlogs.
Yes,
and
now
now
ours will get buried.
get barely any traction.
Amongst all of them.
But we are excited to be there.
If you feel pity for us, watch this vlog. Maybe it'll get 50 views.
Well, the last one isn't going to get any views either, and we are going pretty late in the season for all of these things. But the last one is, I think, more on brand for us and more for the haunters in the chat. We will be going to Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood.
Yes.
So the IP houses that Halloween Orlando has announced will be carried over to both coasts, which means we do get to experience Insidious, Ghostbusters, and historically, most of the houses that have been on both coasts have been better executed at Halloween. Historically. That's not always the case, but usually, take the Chucky house, for example,
if there
which was
is
very
a difference,
empty.
Sometimes it's better at Hollywood. So we've heard.
Yes. The other difference, of course, is that you are able to film inside these houses.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they don't care.
I
don't know why.
Officially, I think the policy is the same as it always is for Universal day guests. Like, you can't film on ride, you can't film this, that, and the other thing. But I think the policies are just so lax around filming in the houses at Halloween Horror Nights that the traditional crowd view is I can take my phone in and shoot, which is a mixed bag because you do get people. I think part of what Halloween Horror Nights Orlando tries to avoid by nixing filming is people who hold up the conga lines with their phones, like trying to get the perfect shot. I promise we're not going to do that. We're going to get what we get. There's not going to be any exterior lighting. We're going to go through the same way that we would go through at Hershey Park Dark Nights. But we are excited to be able to share a little bit more of the Halloween Horror Nights experience with people who may not have seen that from us because we've never been to Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood before.
And things that are different among like different non-IP houses, there is the Terror Tram at Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I do want to address this. Hold on. I'm going to put a pin in that. We'll come back. So yeah, the other thing about Hollywood is the Terror Tram, which is in and of itself, it's kind of like a scare zone on a train because it's the Hollywood Studios tour converted into something that moves between lower lot and upper lot, passing by the film sets which have been monstrified. And in this particular case, the Terror Tram is themed to the Blumhouse monsters, which includes Megan, the Grabber from Black Phone, Freaky. It's all of them. Everything that Blumhouse has done.
Right?
I think Insidious is where you get dumped off.
Okay.
So like it's everything that Blumhouse has ever done on one scare zone train, which to me sounds like the coolest thing that's ever happened. But I am a sucker for IP. I'm also excited though for the original houses at Halloween Horror Nights because Hollywood has a very different roster of original houses as compared to Horror Nights.
I don't consider Halloween Horror Nights to be all that scary, to be honest, but it's more of which is why when people are scared about it, I'm like, try going through.
Well, this leads directly into this comment too.
Yeah.
It's like, for the sake of vlogging, it made more sense for us to go to Halloween Horror Nights. And we do want to share a little bit of this trip with you. We'll have plenty of content that gets posted later that is not spooky related. We'll also have some family-friendly stuff if I can get it done in time, and I'm not saying I can, but we'll also have some daytime spooky fun that may bleed into these other vlogs too.
Yeah.
But for the nighttime experiences, filming at Knott's is very, very limited, and getting into experience Knott's Scary Farm is much more complicated for people who don't have a car and don't live locally. So Halloween Horror Nights, despite being much further away from Disneyland, where we will be based during this stay, will be pretty receptive to the vlogs that we want to shoot. Have you not been, Sapphire? Ever?
I mean, it's not
It's
exactly
a different vibe.
close.
It's a different vibe. Don't get me wrong. It's a very different vibe than the haunts.
We hadn't been before like 2021 either.
I know, but we weren't scare actors.
Okay, that's even more of a reason not to go because
true.
Guess what she's doing while Halloween Horror Nights is happening?
Hey, I'm not accusing anybody.
Sapphire, I understand.
I'm not accusing
I don't accuse
anyone of anything. I was just incredulous.
I also think that you as a scare, I mean, I think there's production. The production value is so good, but I do feel like Halloween Horror Nights, because it is so big and so hyped, it lacks some of the like heart and soul that I think a lot of local haunts have, which is why we honestly prefer them.
So we have had this conversation with Jared and Terry on their podcast before. If not on the podcast that we did with them, I think it might have been offline. But we talk a lot about Halloween Horror Nights, and the whole industry talks about Halloween Horror Nights. And there is, I think, a misperception that Halloween Horror Nights is the gold standard. It's not.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is.
I think places like Haunted Overload and stuff are
Haunted Overload, Markov's Haunted Forest. I'm going by reputation alone, but Reaper's Revenge.
I think, but in every place we've been, like all.
I am learning a lot about Sapphire this evening. She scares like she's been doing it all her life. So Halloween Horror Nights, as Katie said, I think is the gold standard for immersion. They do really, really cool, really tall, really massive sets that are difficult to replicate without a full production studio behind
They got the money.
They have the money to do that, and they have the money to do it quickly.
I mean, I still loved walking through the Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's IPs. Like they own the IPs that they leverage, or they license them to the point where they can do what they want with them. Here's what I don't like about Halloween Horror Nights. I don't like sound rules. I don't like the fact that the actors don't really get to interact with you. They're on a set like rhythm. As you go through, you might even miss because they have to respond to the sound loops.
They have sound loops, sound cues. Like it's very much it's a performance in a way that, not that all scare actors aren't performing, but
the emphasis,
a lot of the creativity of the acting is not there.
Yes, it takes control away from the actors.
Yeah.
And I feel like the actors are the heart and soul of every haunt. So I feel like that is what I really have never liked about Halloween Horror Nights, is how rhythmic it is. Like how it operates on a specific cadence.
A little bit less of that in the scare zones because the actors are, for the most part, a little bit more free to roam around and scare you and stuff. But even then, they're not they're not really interacting with you. And you know, when you're in a midway at a local haunt, I mean, you can have a whole thing with an actor, and they're great at improv,
and they will stay next to you for 20 minutes having a conversation that's fun and engaging and being respectful.
So it's definitely different. I wouldn't say don't go, because you're right. If you love Halloween,
you should go at least once.
You love like a big Halloween party, that's what it is. As far like a lot of the creativity and some of the soul that is poured into these smaller events and smaller haunts is, I think it's where it's at, and I think that's why I would consider Halloween Horror Nights to be like your a launching point for a lot of people. But if you love Halloween Horror Nights, check it out. There's local haunts in Florida that we'd love to check out.
That we just don't have.
We don't live there and we can't see. But like, if you are living in Florida and your goal is to hit Halloween Horror Nights as many times as possible, hit like for Henry's Haunted Trail up or something. You know, give that a shot. I think you'll be surprised what you can do with the free reign and not sound looping kind of acting.
The thing, it's a double-edged sword. It's a thing I really like and simultaneously really hate about Halloween Horror Nights, and it's this: the emphasis is not on scary. The emphasis is on a story, telling a story as you go through. And the problem with doing it the way they do it, they do tell a story in every single house, and the stories are cool. And Universal Creative They are amazing at writing these awesome narratives and crafting sets and environments around those narratives. I think that is where they excel, and that is really cool to see, and why I do like going to Halloween Horror Nights. But the reason I don't prioritize Halloween Horror Nights over other places is because the story is something that you are observing, not something that you are a part of.
Yeah.
As you go through, you are watching scenes from a movie play out, and if you don't approach the right scene at the right time, you can actually miss the movie. Like, it's the equivalent of you running to the bathroom during the critical scene where Michael stabs somebody. Like, it just happens to be on a sound loop that displaced you because of the conga
and because
line.
of how popular it is. Like, it's conga lines all the time. I think Orlando's doing something different this year where they're doing like a limited ticketed event so that you are going in separate groups. So I imagine that has the potential to be more scary. And I know that as haunt season picks up for local haunts, sometimes they have no choice but to send you in conga lines too. But it is different. Like, most of the time, you want to know the reason why Tim and I are screaming? A lot of times we're walking through just the two of us. There's no one.
It's true.
So you
don't see the people before or after us, but you just assume they're there, but they're not.
Sorry, when someone jumps out at you and screams at you, or a air cannon blows in my face, I'm gonna scream. But I'm screaming because I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
I've never once felt like I can handle it.
I love being dropped into a story and being part of it through my interactions with the actors. That's what makes a haunt so cool to me. And the fact that so many independently run haunts can build such immersive and cool worlds around that element is what makes it a preferable experience. Having said that, there are things that Halloween Horror Nights does really well, and I do think that everyone needs to make it out there at least once.
It's turned into like a Halloween Horror Nights therapy session.
Now I'm preaching the gospel of small haunts.
But we always will. Because you guys got it. You got to check them out. I think if we were Central Florida local people, I think we would definitely hit up Halloween Horror Nights a lot during the season. But I think
now see, this is the thing though. I think that the non-IP houses are where Universal really gets a chance to put their creative to work. I love Dead Man's Pier Winter's Wake, which was 2 years ago, but it's still on my mind.
I do think that some of the non-IPs aren't executed as well, and sometimes the IPs I think it can go both ways.
It's hit or miss.
Yeah.
But so is any brave new idea.
Yeah.
Especially in Hollywood.
Because I did love like the Pumpkin Lord house when we went with
Julie. Yeah, I really like that too. Love that. I also like the Bugs Eaten Alive house. I didn't hate it. And the we last went to Halloween Horror Nights in 2022, so you'll have to excuse the dated references. But the Private Eye that I can't remember what it was.
Oh, Case Files?
Case Files. Yeah. That was fun. So, we're going to Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood. This will be our first time at this event.
Jared's making a point, though. As someone who's not,
that's true.
We get plenty of the dose of the creative. I get what you're saying, though. You mean you don't see the random, Silent Hill nurses that appear in local haunts?
All local haunts everywhere. Yeah, no, it's a fun time. It is a different vibe, and I think that I like that it exists. I just don't think it is the end all.
Yeah, that's what bothers me when people are like, it is the top thing. Like, okay, and you know what? I don't want to yuck someone else's yum. If it is your favorite thing to do at Halloween, go do it. Do it a lot of times. Hopefully, you have a frequent fear pass and aren't paying through the nose to do it all the time. But I'm just putting it out there.
Also,
that if you enjoy Halloween Horror Nights, you might also enjoy some smaller places that could really would love your business.
Put the links
below. My God. Look, sometimes I get excited about things and I become a cartoon character.
Sometimes you go full librarian.
I gotta. I'm kidding.
So the only other thing that makes Hollywood different from Orlando is that they do have the Waterworld Stadium.
Oh yeah, the Waterworld
and
show.
And they did announce that they're getting a Purge overlay for the Waterworld show.
So R.I.P.
Do
we have to watch the Purge movies?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good, because I don't really want to.
There's a certain type of movie. I am not messing around we only have one day to do everything. So we're probably not going to get to every single house, and I know that.
Yeah.
But we are prioritizing the ones we really want to do, and we do want to see this show and ride the Terror Train. So I got express passes for the one night that we're going to be there. We're going on a weeknight, hoping that will help some. We also do have the 20 minutes early entry to Halloween Horror Nights, like the head start that they sell. It's like $10. I don't know why everyone wouldn't do it. But yeah, it should be fun. And the great thing is that whether or not it wows and floors and amazes as much as the local haunts or even as much as Hollywood Orlando does, we will be able to take campus for the majority of the evening. So we'll be able to take you along for the ride and give you our real-time impressions of what we think. Although we just gave a lot of our real-time impressions like right now.
Well, our honest feelings. An honest review.
Honest review. Honest in all caps. Okay. So when we get back from our trip, which this trip did eat 2 weeks.
2 weekends.
2 weeks or so. It's a little less than 2 weeks in California, but 2 weeks of our time.
Well, I meant like 2 weekends.
Yeah.
Like 2 weekends.
Of October, I think it's actually 3. Of October, we're losing a lot. We're losing a lot of the meat on October. Fortunately, the season does go 1 weekend longer because everyone started later.
Yeah.
So we will have an opportunity to get to some places. Now, we will be tentatively attending Markov's, hopefully making it out to see Hera's Nightmare, which is a new haunt that's opening not that far from us.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to make it out to Penhurst this year too. I don't know if all this is going to happen. I know we've got soft plans to visit at least one place. We are taking some friends with us. So all of this will be non-vlog, and that in particular, they would not want to be on camera. So if you see us, again, feel free to say hi to us. We may just not be vlogging at the time, but we do want to make it out to a couple other places before season ends. And then when the season ends, we will be circling back to Field of Screams for Blackout Night. Yeah. And then, before you know it, it'll be Christmas time, and we'll get to
back
do
to Field of Screams
Laurel's
again.
House of Horror. Incidentally, if you guys didn't see our Christmas video from Laurel's House of Horror, there is a riot happening internally that everyone wants Twinkle Coldstone to resume his post for Christmas. And I need some feedback. Like, are we going to make this happen? Is this a thing that's going to happen every year? So you guys need to let me know if you want to see Twinkle Coldstone back. And if you don't know who Twinkle Coldstone is, you need to go watch that vlog right now. So you'll be on the know. But yeah, Markov's is one. The other thing about Markov's this year, I'm really trying to make this happen. I don't know if it will because it's a tough thing to get out there on a weekend. But Markov's is doing what they did last year, where they do a lights on night. It's devoid of scare actors, which does take some of the experience away. But it takes the experience to a different threshold where more people, I think, can be a part of it because they're not going to be attacked as they come around the corners. Markov's is a full contact haunt, so if you're not ready for that, you really can't afford to do the trail. But if you do a lights on walkthrough night, there are no scare actors. You just get to see the amazing, cool sets. And I think that would be a really cool thing to film. So we are trying hard to make it out there. That would be, if we were going to do it, it would be just before season's end. There are 2 nights for lights on night, and they are available at discounted ticket prices. So we might just buy tickets and head out there. We did get to see Markov's behind the scenes last year, and we are again very thankful for Paul and the team for inviting us out, and we are very grateful to have that relationship with them. We would love to make it out for a full season night and vlog it this year, but I don't think we're going to be able to edit it in time.
With the 2 weekends, at least 2 weekends gone in October, and we are obviously doing some repeats.
Yes.
We will probably always make time for Field and Laurel's in our schedule.
But it doesn't matter because Markov's also opens in October.
Yes.
So by the time they open, we're already gone in California. By the time we get back, we only have 2 weeks to edit things before they lose relevancy. So unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to vlog it this year. But we are still planning to go out. We don't know when, but we're going to go out. If we do get to vlog it, it will be that lights on night. But if we don't, it will certainly be a haunt that we visit before season. Because it was the
cool. First one we went to together.
It was the first haunt that we ever went to together, and it's also just such an immaculate vibe. I don't think there's anything quite like Markov's anywhere near us. There are things that come close, but the vibe is very unique at Markov's. They have one of the best midways in the industry, and it honestly, the time you spend on the midway, by the time you go on the trail, you're so hyped up from what you've seen and done on the midway that like the trail cannot disappoint. And it doesn't. It's amazing. So anyway, we've got a very busy season planned. Yeah.
That's
the end of the sentence.
We got a very busy season planned.
We've got a very busy season planned. We are going all over the country this year. Now, next year, we already have started conversations about how to build our schedule because we will not be traveling quite as far next year. It is our plan to remain semi-local, and whatever we can get to in a weekend, we're going to do. So we're going to try to hit a few of the places that we've never been to around here next year, in addition to all the ones we're hitting for the first time this year. But we are excited to be all these places doing all these things. We know we're going to have no voices at the end. We're probably going to be sick as dogs because we always are. We always catch something during haunt season. It's fine. It's worth it because haunts are so much fun. And we are so excited to be back in spooky.
We are.
So I do want to highlight some of the scare actors,
content creators,
as we did last time, which was 2 weeks ago. This is our last chance to plug some scare actor creators. Haunt flu, spook flu. So while not being the official creator account, I do want to encourage you all to follow Miss Laurel LHOH, which is Laurel's House of Horror, a new Instagram account created for the character played by one of our dear friends at Laurel's House of Horror. Miss Laurel is iconic, and this is her 10th year, so
follow her.
Enough said. Most of these are on Instagram, by the way, except for the last one, who is a TikTok king. Mickey the Clown actually entered our giveaway, and I know she's been a great supporter of us as we've been going through. I believe she has acted at Laurel's House of Horror, but she's also a primary actor at Six Flags Great Adventures Fright Fest and at Brighton Asylum in New Jersey. So I've been following her for a while, and she is a delight and also an absolute terror. So the two things you want a haunt actor to be. So please give her a follow. And then Didwitty the Clown. It's another dear friend from Laurel's House of Horror who is all over Instagram and TikTok. And I do mean all over, just like everywhere is Dinwiddie. My entire feed is like 3 posts.
Like 10 stories a day, minimum.
And so he is a presence. Yeah. He is hard to ignore in the best possible way. So we do want to give him a shout out as well. I know he's been really supportive of us as we've grown.
Always a pleasure to run into Dinwiddie at Laurel.
And you will know it when you see him. Oh, man. Now we're back on the schedule again. Oh my God, you guys. Spook season is the greatest season. So it will be a while before we talk to you live again. We are on Instagram and we do try to share as much as possible on the go. So it's not like we're disappearing. If anything, we're going to be more active than ever. Yeah. But we will not be doing live streams for a while yet because I need every possible second to edit multiple vlogs over the course of 6 weeks? Yeah. 6 to 7 weeks?
I don't envy you.
Yeah, I don't envy me. It's fun. It's a great time. It's just the editing that slows me down. We're super excited, you guys. I don't know how many more times I can say that before I get my point across, but spooky season is where we come out of our shells and we live our best lives. We are so thankful and so excited to have been invited out to so many amazing places this year. Some old ones, some new ones. We're excited to see what our favorite places have done differently. We're excited to experience new places for the first time. And we're excited to just be immersed in terror by all these fabulous scare actors up and down the coast and across the country. So, yep. That being said, thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope you are as excited as we are. And thank you all for entering the giveaway, those of you who did.
Congrats again to Halloween Haunt 365.
We will be in contact with y'all.
We'll get you your stuff as soon as we can. For your, what did he say? 30 for you guys, 50 for the team.
Oh.
Woo! It's like Donkey Kong. Yeah. And feel free to, divvy up that merch to whoever on your team.
Exactly.
Or you can take it all for yourself. We don't, it's yours to do with as you want. So.
Oh, they won Sapphire. Halloween Haunts 365. They maximized the full 6 entries.
Yes. Well deserved.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. We love each and every one of you. We will miss talking to you, but we will look forward to posting several spooky vlogs over the coming weeks and months. Until next time, I'm Tim.
I'm Katie.
And every day
is a new adventure.
And we will spook you again soon.